Hey everybody, this is Pat from BehindTheMaskPresents.com. Back to you today with a very special guest. I'm talking to Blake Richardson from Between the Buried and Me. Blake, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So you guys are about halfway through now with the tour with Deafheaven, Intronaut, and the Kindred. All bands on this tour, I can see, you guys, each one has their own distinct style, but no two bands are exactly alike, so it must make for a pretty interesting cross-section of people at shows.
Yeah, and then we've always tried to aim for that too. Like we always pick bands that we like to take on tour. You know, we're never one of those bands that just stick to numbers. Like, oh, this band's doing really well, so we'll bring them out. No, we're very picky, and it is very cool. It's like all the bands are in the same realm, but they're each like very unique.
Right.
And it's cool. Yeah, you're drawing. You know, you can see the Deafheaven kids are there, and like the people there for Intronaut and Kindred and stuff like that. So it's cool. It is a very eclectic mix of people.
Yeah, a lot of the bands definitely. Obviously you guys have had a buzz going for a while, but Deafheaven's picking up a lot of steam with their last album.
Yeah.
Intronaut as well. They've been on a lot of bigger tours with some bigger bands.
Yeah,
and so I think it also kind of speaks to the eclecticism contained in your guys' music as well. Just kind of that you guys can go out there and play with a band. I know you guys have played with Cannibal Corpse. And then go out there and play with a band like Deafheaven, who a lot of hardened metalheads say is a hipster black metal band. So,
it's funny how it works like that.
I just think it's an interesting dichotomy. So recently, you guys were playing we're playing Parallax II in its entirety. Is there a different sort of challenges that kind of present themselves playing an album in its entirety from front to back, night to night, as opposed to like just coming up with just a regularized set list that you might?
Well, it's always tough for us because we have such long songs now. Like we gotta trying to have a well mixed set list and also keeping it under like 2 hours. We never thought it'd get like that bad, but now it's like to the point where it's a challenge for us because we have so many records now and so many songs to choose from. But for this tour, it is kind of a challenge because some days we're doing the Parallax and some days we're doing just a regular set list, a mixture of old songs and stuff. And we were setting up for this tour, we were sending emails back and forth about, what should we do for this tour? And we're like, yeah, we'll do this set list. And then some days we'll do, the Parallax II for the cities that we didn't get to, play that album in. So, okay, that sounds cool. And that was like a month before the tour. And then I realized like a couple weeks before I started rehearsing, I was like, God, I have to rehearse like 2.5 hours worth of material because I'm like, and we have all the a lot of the old songs. 15 minutes long. We're playing, Sun at Nothing and Swim to the Moon and stuff like that. So that's definitely a challenge. Like, just we have so much material to kind of go over and get into our heads.
You're a pro though. You can just vamp if you forget something.
Yeah, I try. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Just pass it off. You make it look easy, so it's better for it. So,
cool.
Speaking of the Parallax II, a concept album, real deep with the concepts. I know you guys have probably answered questions for about the past 2 years on concepts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, do you feel when it comes to concept albums that things kind of need to be left on the mysterious side for it, not really fully reveal the actual story, just kind of leaving that little bit open for the listener's interpretation?
Oh yeah. I kind of I think of it like like a lot of Darren Aronofsky has a lot of movies like that where there's a lot of interpretation involved, and a lot of directors are like that with their movies, and I think that's cool. It's it almost gives more to the story instead of having just a straightforward inherent plot line to it, which the Parallax story does to a certain degree, but it's kind of cool to morph it into a way that you think is a cool story.
Right. So do you guys have any plans to continue the Parallax story?
I don't know. Yeah, that's like we'll see.
Right on.
Yeah. That's another. That'd be man. I haven't begun to think about that yet.
Does working within a conceptualized nature, I know it presents kind of its own challenges and stuff like that when it comes to recording and kind of keeping album cohesion.
Yeah.
Do you ever just kind of sit there and just like, can't we just write a normal song?
I know. Like, I think I have a feeling for this next record we're probably gonna do that. Just like, let's just write some cool songs. But you never know. Maybe we will pick up another concept. But no, I agree. But it's cool. It's challenging, but it's also simplistic in a way, because with Colors Colors was more like a musically conceptual album. So that one was like, we knew we had this cool theme and we could repeat this theme at this point or whatever. And then with this one, it was both musically and the concept that we had to go by with the music, like that was very important as well. So we kind of had a layout before going into it, how, like, music-wise, how we wanted the album to flow.
Right.
So it was kind of cool. We knew, like, it needs to be kind of chilled out for this part of the story, and then by the end, it's got to have, like, this big epic ending. Mm-hmm. So, we wanted to have those kind of emotions involved in the music at the end.
There's definitely a lot more dynamics involved and kind of sound kind of sculpting and kind of just, like you were talking about. If something's a little more laid back, you're going to have the music kind of, just a little more, just a little, not necessarily have to be soft music, but maybe just as presentation. Yeah. Maybe the levels, or it's just, it's a complicated process.
It is. I never want to do it again. No, we will. I'm sure we will. Go for it.
And you'll begrudgingly be there for each and every bit of it. So, I think specifically this album, and I've in a lot of reviews I read, it's your guys' most cohesive album. Especially, whatever that may mean as a band. You guys are, I guess, playing music as long as you guys have together now, I guess, hitting on all cylinders, and, just kind of, you guys seem to be right there with each other at all times.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do you guys feel like you need to challenge yourselves sometimes to take yourself out of your own comfort zones when it comes to stuff, or do you guys just kind of tend to always just kind of focus on that, or?
No, we're always in the we're always trying to challenge ourselves with every record. Like, I do agree, like this last one can be looked at as a very cohesive album, because it does, it does have a lot of pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. You can hear bits of stuff that we did from, like, self-titled and Silent Circus and Alaska stuff, and you can hear, like, Colors sort of stuff. But it is, we always try and write stuff that is beyond our playing, not too far. Right. There's a lot of bands that do that whole thing. Like, we've never gone into the studio where we flat out can't play the material. Right. We never do that ever, because I don't know, that just seems like too much of a headache. But we just push it just enough, right, that we can that we know that it's possible. You know what I mean?
Right. And usually there's a tour coming up, so you don't want to have to take too long to go back and relearn all.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, I heard Meshuggah had to relearn all their songs before they went out on tour, and I was like, what? And
I know.
That's when I kind of started learning, like, okay, sometimes it is so complicated that you got to go back, because something you might have, the first song that you worked on, you're going to open with, and you haven't actually played it for maybe a month or two, and so you got to go back and rehash everything.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, there's stuff, it's a long time ago, but we talk about stuff from the self-titled record, mm-hmm. and, Paul will say, I wrote that, basically almost that whole song, and I don't remember any of it. Like, I would have to literally relearn it, like, look up the tabs and, like, relearn how to play it.
Yeah, we talked to Luke LeMay from Gorguts, and he said that when they were getting ready to go back out on tour, we wanted to play one of his older songs, and he said he actually had to go on YouTube to find some kid playing it.
Yeah.
He said all the notes weren't exactly right, but then it just, as he was going back over,
the motor memory
kicked in. It just kind of came back to him.
Yeah, now I've had to do that too. I had to do that with Obfuscation. Like, we hadn't played that for a long time, and I just had to look up a YouTube video, and just because I know there's stuff I did differently, like live, and I would just watch it, and I'd go, oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Did that little fill there, and then it eventually comes back. And you need just little, hints here and there, but it's It's tough.
Do you think the way, like, with kind of how music works nowadays, that bands don't really have that luxury to kind of go into a studio, work for a few months on pre-production, then actually go into tracking, and then, you know, spend a whole mess of time, energy, and money into the mastering and whatnot? With the ease of use with technology and stuff these days, it can be done, you know, in a bedroom.
Yeah.
So and plus just kind of, I mean, indicative also of our short attention span as media consumers. I just think that with a lot of bands just don't have that comfort anymore.
No, they don't. Especially bands that are starting out now. Like, it's totally different, you know, now from, you know, 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, it was like, it was still in the world of, okay, let's like put a tape recorder over there in the corner and put a pillow over it and like just have some crappy demo, and then we'll go find a dude that we know that can like record like a legit demo, like 3 songs or something, and then we'll throw that to a label or something like that, and hopefully they'll get it. Now it's like, I mean, you can get full production recordings from, like you said, like your bedroom.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't blame people for using that technology. I mean, it's there, so I don't know, why not use it?
Right.
You know, you want your recording to be the best representation of yourself. So yeah, you can't. I mean, I guess I can't really blame kids for using that sort of stuff. But with us, it's cool. I like being able to do it the way we do. Like, we pre-pro ourselves, and then we go in and actually playing the drums and recording real drums. Right, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's funny that's like pretty much becoming a pastime now.
That kind of blows me away. I know. I mean, the majority of audio anymore, just because of the tools that are available with a lot of bands, there's some sort of manipulation to give the best presentation, like you said, of what you feel your music should sound like. But when you find out that a whole entire band, or you see a picture of a studio and there is no kick drum in the picture, like, where's the kick drum?
Where's the drums?
We don't do that. But
I mean, you know, at the same time too, is like, if you can play it live, that's cool, man. Like, that's basically what it all revolves around. But I don't know. It's just a personal thing. Like, I love, like we were talking about Meshuggah. When I heard Catch 33, I was like, man, these drums are sick, like because they sounded real. They sounded like legit. I was like, man, this album was just awesome. And then I found out that they were like programmed stuff, and I still love that record. It's awesome. But I have this weird like mental block when I listen to it, because now I can't envision like a dude recording it. For some reason, I have this like, I have to think of that when I'm recording it, like when I'm listening to a record.
I'm the same way. I like to know when I'm listening to the music that the people I'm listening to actually played on the album. You know, I know that sometimes, you know, the bass player in the band might not be the best musician when it comes to tracking, so the guitar player may play all of it, but still, you know, I like to know that somebody actually had an instrument in their hands, or actually was beating the shit out of the drum, instead of just sitting there spending hours upon hours upon hours upon tracking it. Like Pig Destroyer, it blew my mind when I found out all their drums were programmed, because I know they're a live band, but all the drums were programmed on the recordings. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I think, though, with regards to how a lot of that stuff works, I think a lot of people, especially younger bands, kind of have this misconception of how you should actually, you know, not only record, but actually how to be a band. You know, they think they can go into the studio, and because of everything that they have nowadays at their disposal, that it can just kind of go, and we're going to get a great sounding record. These songs are just going to shape themselves. But if the songs aren't there, then, you know, there's no point. I agree, man. And it's going back to, it's a great, like, drum programming and all that stuff. It's like a great useful tool. Like, and it is awesome for bands on a budget as well. Like, it's just like, and like I said, I don't blame dudes for using that. And, you know, there's a lot of bands that aren't as lucky as us that get to have them, you know, the means to be able to record in a real studio and stuff like that. So you got to use what you can, you know, take what you can get. Totally.
Yeah.
Now, coming up, you guys just announced recently that you guys are going to do the Parallax II in a little studio, make a DVD out
Oh, yeah.
with some extra musicians on that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the decision between doing a more traditional live DVD in front of an audience, and then kind of why in the small, intimate setting in a studio? Was it just something different?
It's something different, and we just didn't want to do another, like every band does, the live DVD.
Mm-hmm.
We've already done one of those,
right.
And honestly, it was real stressful. Like, it was just kind of like, we did it just on an off day or whatever, and it's kind of one of those things when you go in, it's like, okay, don't blow it. Yeah. And we get enough of that. We were like, let's just keep it comfortable and do it in the studio, just us, and keep it intimate. And it's different. And I think people like that. It's more focused on the music. It's more focused on the musicians, and we're kind of like a musicians band, I guess. So it kind of made sense for our audience or whatever. I think they'd like to see something like that. So. And I've always liked when bands do stuff like that, because I'm a sucker. I love looking, if there's an album that I really like, I'll look up, recording videos of right. Tracking or whatever, because I just like that. I like studio footage, so.
I do too.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, year and a half of the life of Metallica, I watched.
Oh, dude! Oh my God, I've seen that so many.
Watching Hammy do the solo for the Unforgiven.
Oh yeah, man. That's like the
best.
That's like the best one.
Yeah.
Like that's the best studio recording video.
Yeah, and that's what taught me how to do. That's what are punch-ins.
Yeah.
Read overdubs. All like the concepts, just basic concepts of like originally, tracking music. Kind of that's how I kind of started learning
and I'm
stuff.
So stoked that they did it for that record, because that record is like, to this day, one of the best sounding metal records in existence.
Totally. The production on it's
ridiculous. You listen to it today, it's still just like, it's incredible.
Heavy as hell, crunchy as hell, and it's just especially coming off of its predecessors, obviously classics. Doesn't even need to be said, but something like that. And even then, everybody screams sellout, blah 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 blah. You can't touch that record, especially Bob Rock's production.
It's just it's unbelievable, man.
Do you guys ever, when you're kind of like working with something, jamming, like, does something ever come up where you guys kind of look at each other and you're like, we just can't do that,
Yeah, there's it happens every now and again. There's some stuff that like, we'll get done like writing a song and we'll look at the flow of it. And we used to not do this in the past, but now we've gotten a little bit more picky about stuff. It's like, it just doesn't really work there. Like, it's a really cool part. I really want to have it in there, but it happens every now and again.
Just a little too zany.
Yeah, a little too, just too wacky.
Just way too much of a curveball. Kids just don't know. So. But the eclecticism is part of what makes your guys' band such an amazing thing. So,
cool.
Question for you personally: I saw recently there's going to be some Glass Casket new music possibly in 2014.
That's what we're hoping for. We've got BTBAM's got like a kind of a break this year. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to start. We're going to do that DVD, and I think we might start writing at some point in the year. But I think we're gonna have some free time and gonna try and get this going.
I just recently discovered Glass Casket just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
That band is killer.
So
cool,
man.
I'm stoked to hear that there's gonna be new music.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man. We haven't done anything with that in a while, so.
Yeah, and while I was looking you guys up, the picture that's on the Encyclopedia Metallica was pretty good. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that, anytime recently, check that out. Google it. It's pretty funny. So cool. Well, it looks like about out of time. So Blake, again, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Cool. Really appreciate it. And
Appreciate it.
Pat from BehindTheMaskPresents.com. Thanks a lot.